Hello students, hello, welcome back, welcome in another lecture. So today I am going to starting chapter 3 which is current and electricity. So we are already done with our unit number 1 which is electrostat, and unit 1 I am having two chapters, chapter 1 and chapter 2. In chapter 1 we discussed about forces and electric field, whereas in chapter 2 we discussed about electrical potential and capacitances. Okay, and what I did in the last class, we figured it out like how polarization take place. Polarization is simply redistribution of charges. Okay, and we saw that electric field inside a conductor is absolutely zero when we have placed a conductor in between a parallel plate capacitor, and when we have placed an dielectric slab instead of a conductor inside a capacitor, we saw how value of capacitance changed. In our case, in simpler case, we have value of capacitance as something like that A epsilon naught by D, whereas in other cases suppose I am having a dielectric slab of thickness T and dielectric constant K is introduced in between the capacitor, then our capacitance will change from A epsilon naught D to A epsilon naught D minus T. So it has changed from A epsilon naught divided by D to A epsilon naught D minus T plus T by K, isn't it? So this formula we derived in the last class. D minus T is my portion where I am having no dielectric slab. I am having dielectric slab of thickness T only, okay, and having dielectric constant K. So that is the only change we saw in the formula while going from this to this, okay. That's how value of capacitance changes if we will introduce dielectric slab in it. Okay, so this was it. This is it for electrostat unit. Now I'm going to start chapter number 3, another unit of class 12 called current electricity. Okay, but before that I should mention that this is our basic motto, that how, what and why we are dealing this. Okay, the my dream logic is we have to understand how we are studying this, what we are studying this, and why we are studying this. So before that, let me explain to you that we are studying current electricity, but why we are studying this? That is the point. That is the main point, that why we are studying this. So isn't it beautiful that you guys are going to learn the biggest human invention ever? Electricity is the biggest human invention till now. Do you guys agree with me or not? If you guys agree with me, then feel proud that you guys are going to learn the biggest human invention. Okay, because everything around you is current electricity. Everything around you is electricity. How a fan moves, just because of a current, we have electricity. How a tube glow, because of electricity. Okay, how your phone works, just because of electricity, isn't it? So your basic necessity, it is the very basic necessity of life. To understand your basic necessity of the life is totally dependent upon electricity. Your total life is now totally dependent on electricity. That's why we are going to have discussion about this topic, current electricity, and you will be amazed to see when we will go through this topic that what scientists and human invention gave to you guys. We will see this with certain theorems, formulas, and some theories from different scientists in the world, and you will see how those theories and experiment will prove so beneficial after so many years. Okay, so we should be thankful to those scientists and those people who invented all this. Okay, so that is our motto for this class, and that's why we are going to study current electricity. So I should mention first, there is a quantity called current. What is it? Okay, what is current? I gave you a bit of example, bit of hint in the last class or last to last class when I told you guys that if I am having a two conductor at different potential and if you will join one conductor to another, then in this case charges will flow from a conductor which is having a higher potential to the conductor which is having a lower potential. Okay, this flow of charge is called as current. Okay, the basic definition of current is simply rate of flow of charge. So flow of charge with rate. In physics, whenever you heard the term rate means you have to divide that quantity by time. Okay, so flow of charge, rate of flow of charge. So flow of charge is simply the movement of the charge, and rate of flow of charge is that we have to divide that quantity by time, like in time proportion, how fast that charge is moving, how slow that charge is moving. So rate is that term, that thing only, that how fast charges are moving, how slow charges are moving. So rate of motion of charges or rate of flow of charges is simply known as current. Okay, so this is my very basic definition of the current, that it is simply defined as rate of flow of charges. Flow of charges divided by the time. We want to see how these charges are flowing, whether these charges are flowing with much higher speed or with slower speed. That will depend upon the rate, and that's how I'm going to define my current. So current is simply, we can say delta Q by delta T, but if delta T tends to 0, if I will take limit of delta T, then this change will change into very small change called dq by dt. Okay, differential. This delta will change into differential. This is change, very small change. Okay guys, this is very small change, and this is simply delta Q by delta T. Okay, so what is current? It is basically, so what is my basic definition? Rate of flow of charge. Rate of flow of charge. Okay, this is my basic definition of current. Do you guys ever noticed that whenever you heard the quantity rate in terms of physics, you have to divide the above quantity by time? I will give you example. Like, what is speed? What is speed or velocity? Velocity is simply rate of change of displacement, ds upon dt. Whereas what is speed? Speed is rate of change of distance, isn't it? So whenever you heard a quantity called rate, we have to divide the above quantity by time. What is acceleration? Rate of change of velocity. Rate of change of means we have to divide it by dt. Okay, rate of change of velocity, rate of change of distance, displacement, rate of change of distance. Now we are talking about rate of change of flow, rate of flow of charge. So simply we are, in numerator I am having q instead of s or v or something like that. Okay, so that's how things are very relatable in physics. You have to just kept open your mind again and again that whenever you heard a quantity called rate, you have to divide that thing by time. So rate of flow of charge, how fast something is moving. Okay, and something means charge here in terms of current, electricity. Now let's come to unit then. Unit of charge is coulomb. Unit of time is second, coulomb per second, and we call it as ampere. Ampere, SI unit of current. Okay, remember guys, in every case when I was defining any unit, ampere or something like that, I was defining this unit and I was also giving you a mathematical definition at that point of the time, isn't it? When I defined you like Q is equal to CV, C is simply Q by V. So I defined capacitance at that point of the time by saying amount of charge needed to raise the potential by 1 volt. If I will keep it as 1, then C is simply equal to Q. Okay, isn't it? But in that case, in today's case, I stop myself by making some mathematical definition of current. Okay, why is it so? You will see in the chapter of magnetism that I will define 1 ampere there, because it will comes in chapter of magnetism or in topic of magnetism, where I have to define 1 ampere. So we will define this 1 ampere. So please forgive me that I am not giving you a mathematical definition of ampere right now, but yeah, I will give you mathematical definition of ampere when we will be discussing about magnetism. Okay guys? Yeah. So just be patient enough. Okay, so this is my SI unit and this is my basic definition. Now we are only left with about current, like is this a vector quantity or scalar quantity? This is my favorite topic. Vector or scalar? Yeah. Go on guys, let me know whether it is a vector quantity or scalar quantity. If someone asks you what is a vector quantity, you guys will say, okay, the quantity is having a magnitude and direction, it is a vector quantity. Yeah, isn't it? So your basic definition is a vector quantity is a vector quantity which is having both magnitude and direction. But you are absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. Or I would not say wrong, but you are absolutely incomplete, because this definition is totally incomplete. Why? Because current is a quantity which is having both, remember, it is having both magnitude as well as direction. Because we know current is, say, like 3 ampere, 5 ampere, 10 ampere, isn't it? So it is having a magnitude. 3 ampere, 5 ampere, 10 ampere. So yeah, this guy is having a magnitude. What about direction? Yeah, we know current generally flows from higher potential to lower potential, isn't it? Flow of electrons, charges will flow from higher potential to lower potential. We know, we have specified several times that current is moving in this direction or that direction. Yeah, current is having a magnitude as well as direction, but it is not a vector quantity. Guys, this is not a vector quantity. Why is it so? It is a scalar quantity. Okay, I will explain you first why it is a scalar quantity, and then I will explain to you guys that why it is not a vector quantity. Okay, although it satisfies most of the conditions to be a vector, but it is not a vector quantity. But before that, let me explain to you why it is a scalar quantity. So simply by saying, as we guys know, what is velocity? Displacement upon time. What is speed? Distance upon time. Okay, this guy is a vector quantity. Why? Because displacement is a vector quantity. Okay, isn't it? This guy, speed, is a scalar quantity because distance is a scalar quantity, time is a scalar quantity. Here time is also scalar, but yeah, this is a vector quantity, that's why velocity is a vector quantity, okay? Whereas, you can see that speed is equal to distance upon time, distance is a scalar, time is a scalar. When we will divide a scalar to a scalar, we are getting simply a scalar, that's why speed is a scalar quantity. But velocity is a vector quantity. Simply, charge is a scalar thing. Okay? You generally don't say like charge is 3 coulomb in east direction or 3 coulomb in west direction. This is completely nonsense or illogical. Okay, we generally say like charge is something like 3 coulomb or 4 coulomb or 5 coulomb, isn't it? We generally don't specify the direction of charge because it is a scalar quantity. There is no need to define any direction. Now, so if it is a scalar quantity, and obviously time is a scalar, so if I will divide a scalar to a scalar, if I will divide a scalar quantity to a scalar quantity, I will be getting a scalar quantity. As is the case for speed. Distance is a scalar, time is a scalar, we are getting speed. Speed is a scalar quantity. So we are getting a scalar, that's why current is a scalar quantity. Okay guys, so current is a scalar quantity, but this guy is having a magnitude and direction, then why not it is a vector quantity? This is the question, you must ask this question, that it is having a magnitude and direction, and you have this thing in your mind that anything which is having a magnitude and direction is a vector quantity. No guys, no, absolutely not. There is one more thing which is a totally incomplete definition. I will give you the total definition and I will prove to you guys that why current is not a vector quantity. So I should rub it up a bit. So for a current, if I would have to, current would have been a scalar quantity, then it would have been 3 plus 4 is 7. But if suppose I am having a vector quantity, so I should have add 3 plus 4 is 5. Okay. But current fails to do so. Current fails to do so. It fails to apply triangular law of addition and parallelogram law of addition. Okay. That's why current is not a vector quantity, because for a vector quantity it is must that you are having magnitude and direction as well as the vector quantity. The quantity must follow triangular law of vector addition or parallelogram law of vector addition. This is my triangular law of vector addition, which says if you are having a 2 vector, then resultant will be given by this. Okay, if suppose you are having 2 vector, this like this, then resultant would be something like this. If you have 2 vectors, say one is this, then resultant is this. So this is my triangular law of vector addition, and current fails to do so. That's why current is not a vector quantity. So in case of current, what we have, if suppose 3 ampere of current is coming from this side and 3 ampere of current is coming from this side and they are going like this, so it is 6 ampere. Okay. But if current would have been a vector quantity and 3 ampere of current is coming from this side and 3 ampere current from this side, then it will turn out to be 0 if it would have been a vector. But it is not a vector quantity, it is a scalar quantity. It is simply rate of flow of charge. Rate of flow of charge means dq by dt. So we will say current is a scalar quantity, and hence as it fails to follow triangular or parallelogram law of vector addition, therefore it is not a vector quantity. Okay, that's why it is not a vector quantity, because it fails to do so. So current is a scalar because charge is a scalar and time is a scalar. Why current is not a vector? Because it fails, although it is having a magnitude and direction, it fails to follow triangular or parallelogram law of vector addition. Hence, it is not a vector quantity. Remember this, guys. Up to guys, you must be knowing that what is vector quantity, a quantity which is having a magnitude as well as direction. But from now onwards, you guys, if someone asks you what is a vector quantity, you guys must be giving 3 points. What are they? First one is it should have a magnitude, it must have a direction, and it must follow triangular or parallelogram law of vector addition. Then only you can say that that quantity is a vector quantity, otherwise not. And current is a very beautiful example of that although it is having a magnitude and direction, but it is not a vector quantity. Okay, and we have already discussed about it as a unit, which is ampere given by coulomb per volt. Now let's do some more stuff. Suppose a 3 ampere is current coming from this and a 4 ampere current is coming from this, and they are going in this direction. So it is simply 7 ampere. Now what we are left with current. Okay, now I am going to discuss about the Ohm's law. Okay, Ohm's is the famous scientist who derived an expression for current. So Ohm's is a famous scientist who said he did an experiment and he found out that current is directly proportional to voltage, or voltage is directly proportional to current. Okay guys, that's how physics works. In physics, you did an experiment. On behalf of that experiment, you develop certain theories to justify that experiment, because experiment can't lie. I will give you an example. Like when Newton saw, suppose this is my tree, Newton is here, he saw that an apple has fallen from tree to earth. So that was actually an experiment from the nature. Okay, an experiment can't lie because apple has actually fallen. So Newton went on to develop a theory called gravity to describe this experiment, that okay, earth is having a gravity, it is pulling everything around towards us. Okay, so he developed this theory to justify this experiment. Okay, that's how physics works. Simply in this case, there was a scientist which is called as Ohm. He was doing some experiment and he figured out that on increasing voltage, current is also increasing, and on decreasing voltage, current is also decreasing, and hence V is directly proportional to I. To remove that directly proportionality constant, he introduced a constant called resistance. its unit is volt per ampere ohm, on behalf of that scientist name only, and that law is called as Ohm's law. Ohm's law. He saw when he drew a graph between potential and current, he saw it will be a straight line. A straight line means that both are increasing in the same proportion or decreasing in the same proportion. That's why V is directly proportional to R or I is directly proportional to V. So to remove that proportionality constant, he brings out a quantity called resistance. So resistance is the hindrance or opposition in the flow of current. Okay, it is the hindrance or opposition in the flow of current. In the flow of current. So this was an experiment, and to prove that experiment, Newton developed a theory which is called resistance theory, and it derived this formula for this to prove that experiment, and on behalf of this theory, he explained that experiment. Okay, so resistance is a quantity whose SI unit is ohm on the basis of that scientist only. Okay, it is a scalar quantity, and remember, it is a quantity which depends upon three things: length of the conductor, it is independent of voltage and current. Remember guys, this is very important. Resistance is independent on voltage, independent on current, it depends upon the length of the conductor, area of conductor, and material of the conductor. Material of the conductor. Okay, so this is it guys. In next class, I will be discussing more about this current thing, and we will see what are the EMF of a battery, what is internal resistance, and all this kind of stuff. Then we will see how to add resistances in series and in parallel. We already did that in the case of capacitors. Okay, so this is it for today's class. I will be meeting you guys in the next class with some other more stuff of this current electricity. So this is basically an introduction of what current is, why we are studying this, because our basic motto of the mind dream is what, why, and how. Okay, how. So why we are studying this? We are studying this to understand the biggest invention of human life, because everything is depends on light only, on electricity only. Okay, our life is totally dependent upon electricity. That's why we are understanding this. And up to now, what we did, we understood that current is a scalar quantity. It is not a vector quantity, although it is having a magnitude and direction. And what is the definition of current? It is simply rate of flow of charge. To define rate, we have to divide something by time. So in this case, we are dividing time by rate of flow of charge. And one more thing, yeah, it is a scalar quantity because charge is a scalar quantity, time is a scalar quantity. So as in the case of speed, if I have to define speed is distance upon time. Distance is a scalar quantity, time is a scalar quantity, and hence speed is a scalar quantity. But suppose if you are putting displacement instead of distance, then we are getting velocity. Velocity is a vector quantity, because in that case we are dividing a velocity to we are dividing a vector quantity displacement to a scalar quantity time. Okay, that's how we are getting a vector quantity. So keep these small things in mind. These formulas or basics will help immensely you guys to solve some numericals or to answer some theory questions. Okay, so this is it for this class. We'll be meeting in next class with some other stuff. Okay, thank you guys, thank you so much, thanks for your time.